Welcome to another episode of Ask the Placenta Lady, where no question is too strange for the Placenta Lady. My name is Jody. I started working with new moms back in 2006, and all of my clients just started calling me the Placenta Lady, so that's what I go by. I've literally heard every question related to birth, pregnancy, postpartum, and so literally that's why our tagline is no question is too strange for the Placenta Lady, because we've literally been asked everything. I am very excited to have one of our placenta encapsulation specialists from upstate New York joining us today, and her name is Polly Wood. Welcome to the show, Polly.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited to talk to y'all about my experience as a PBi Placenta Specialist.
Welcome to the show, Polly. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your work and what you do out there in New York?
Thanks, Jody. I currently live in upstate New York. As of this year, I've been doing birth work of all sorts for 20 years. So in 1998, I became a birth doula out on the West Coast. I did birth assisting. I was taken by a lot of creative energy around birth. So some of my artwork you can see kind of behind me is inspired by birth and pregnancy and women's power in general. So I started training with PBi in 2009 or 10. So I think I'm moving into my 8th year of working within the PBi network, offering placenta encapsulation and postpartum support. And that's really what I've been focused on for the last 7 or 8 years. Although I love pregnancy and birth, I feel like in general, the postpartum period kind of lacks in our culture as far as the amount of support that's available.
That's awesome, Polly. I love that more and more women are getting into the postpartum care and support, and that women are getting more of that care and support once they have had their baby. So thank you for contributing to that. Our question for this episode is, if I have my baby at the hospital, how does it work to have somebody come to my home to prepare the placenta? That is a great question, and one that we actually get a lot. So with PBi and with my training organization, I had to work with a lot of safety agencies and oversight committees and things like this. And so here I am located in Las Vegas, Nevada. So here the Southern Nevada Health District regulates such things. Federally, we have the Department of Transportation in each state, of course, has their own regulations, but there's a lot of protocols and safety and licensing and things that come with the transport of human organs. So as a leader of an organization that does training and certification, we decided that it was safest both for mothers and for placenta preparers to have the parents transport the placenta home from the hospital. And that just eases everybody's mind. The parents always have control of the placenta. They know how it's being handled. They know the whole chain of custody as far as getting it home from the hospital, and it never leaves their jurisdiction, their oversight. And so if you have your baby at the hospital, then you would have a cooler, and it has to have the rigid sides, and it has to be able to snap completely and securely closed. And you would then be given the placenta at the hospital, and you would then take it to your home, and you would either keep it frozen for your specialist, or you would start the thawing process. And of course, at that point, you will be in touch with your placenta preparation person. At the hospital, they will often just secure the placenta, and they have different kind of packaging that they use. And a lot of times they will place it in a freezer. Now, different hospitals in different states have different policies regarding the release of placentas. Here in Las Vegas, it's all up to the different hospitals, and they can create their own policies. We currently, as of this filming, only have 3 states in our country that actually legally protects the parent's right to take the placenta home from the hospital. So what that means is that every hospital just has their own policy and procedure. This also means that you just need to talk to them in advance and say, hey, I plan to take my placenta home. What do I need to be aware of to make that happen? If you run into trouble, please reach out to us as an organization, placentabenefits.info. We can help you in your state or in your province to see what we can do to help and advocate for your behalf, on your behalf with the hospital if they would try to refuse. So it's not a legal precedent, it's literally just hospital policy. So just be aware of that. There's no law forbidding your release of the placenta. You can absolutely legally take it home, it's just the hospital's policy. So we can change those or try. Or, since you have choices in childbirth, you can choose to deliver at a hospital that has a more mother and placenta friendly release policy. So it is your option. And please feel free to exercise those, and please feel free to reach out to us at PBi. All of us would be more than willing to help you with that situation. So once you get the placenta home, then we would arrange with your specialist to come over and get started, and that's based on your convenience and the availability of the specialist. And again, we never transport, we never take it anywhere. We come to you and we do everything right there in your own home under your own oversight. Do you have anything that you would like to add, Polly?
I have a lot to add to this. I love hearing so clearly the piece about safety, transport standards. Here in the area where I live, we have generally, it's really easy. I've never had any challenges with our local hospital. Actually, a lot of the nurses and midwives and doctors at the local hospital, they're very encouraging. Sometimes I hear from someone that they're in the hospital. This would be Hugo Medical Center in Ithaca, New York, and if they don't have plans for their placenta, sometimes I will hear later that one of the nurses says, oh, are you going to take your placenta home? And so that's often a surprise. So I actually do a fair amount of traveling outside of the Ithaca area. I travel to Corning, Binghamton, Elmira. A couple weeks ago, I traveled over the border a couple hours into Pennsylvania. I think that when people do the research and they find out that they really want someone who's been trained and they want to work within the PBi network and they like this idea of having someone come into their home, they will find someone to travel, and that's often me within this whole upstate New York region. So besides the safety standards, I do often get the question when people reach out, I'm interested in having my placenta encapsulated. How does that work for them to come into my home? There's something that happens, I think it's probably very different for all of us based on what type of experience we bring to the new mom and her family. But I feel like there's a bit of shape-shifting that happens with every individual client, just as every birth is unique, every placenta encapsulation experience is unique. It's really an honor when a family lets me come into their home and work with them in that really special, sacred, intimate first couple of days. So usually I end up getting there within the first 48 hours postpartum. The situations vary from the times where someone is held in the hospital a little bit longer, whether they need extra healing or they've had a cesarean birth. Sometimes I end up going to the parents' home and preparing the placenta while they're not there, and I'm just in very close touch, phone and text. And then the other extreme is where I get to their house and the grandparents are there and the in-laws are there, the families, the best friends, the other little siblings, and it's a family affair. Really what I learned as a doula is that each situation, each home, each placenta and family is different in that it's really based on the needs of the mom and the comfort level of the mom. So if I come into your home and you're interested in the process and you want to see the placenta and you want to help make the prints and you want to take photographs and you want to see every step of the way, then you are absolutely more than involved in that. If you are quiet and tired and sleepy and you just want to stay and nurse your baby in the other room, that is, you know, I feel like I can either be engaged with people in their kitchen, or I can sort of do what a doula does, which is sort of all of a sudden be invisible, even though I'm taking up a lot of space and working in the kitchen. So it really becomes like an educational experience for those that are really interested in it. And I feel like the placenta encapsulation that happens in the home really helps integrate the complete, like a very complete holistic birth experience, because whether you had a home birth or whether you had a hospital birth, you just really never know how it's going to go. And once the baby is there, there's a flurry of adrenaline, there's a flurry of activity, and I feel like there's a kind of a magical support that we offer by being in the home and being yet another encouraging, calming, normalizing voice. Sometimes new moms really, they get sent home from the hospital, it's their first time, and all of a sudden they're alone, or they're alone with their partner, and they're like, is this how it's supposed to be? And so to have yet another person actually come into their home, because not everyone has family support, not everyone has community support. So besides just doing the encapsulation, which is the main service, I feel like I tend to bring kind of a bag of tricks. If moms are receptive, I use them. If they don't want them, I don't push anything, but I don't know, I like to just be another person that's there to say, hey, if you need something, I have 20 years of experience, this is what I see all the time. So yeah, I think besides the fact that most people say they've never seen their kitchen so clean when we leave, which is kind of a common PBi promotional experience, it's true. Really, I think parents have, a lot of feedback I get is that they had no idea how cool the placenta was and what an awesome experience it is to be able to see the whole process from start to finish. Or even if a couple or if mom is still in the hospital, I will ask her and I will take photographs. I will go through lots and lots and lots and lots of rubber gloves while I'm there to keep sanitary, but I will take photographs and text along the way so she is able to still feel like she's part of the process if she wants to be. So yeah.
That's all really awesome, Polly. And I know as just the PBi trainer, it's been awesome having you as a part of our community for pretty much the last decade or so, which has been fantastic. So I just wanted to kind of add on to a couple of things that you mentioned. I loved how you said that by coming into the home, then we kind of end up becoming another normalizing person for her, especially if you haven't had a baby before. And if you are just getting home from the hospital, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And I know that for myself personally, I've been doing this a pretty long time, and just like I say, there's no question that's too strange for the Placenta Lady. Literally, we'll get all kinds of questions. And it's nice to have somebody that that you can kind of build this relationship with, and there as a support person for you. And I know that all my clients, you know, even weeks or sometimes months or sometimes years, I'll get a text, you know, hey, this just happened, what's up with this? And just building that sense of community, because really we do need all the support that we can get in those early days. And it's just so helpful to have somebody there to answer your questions. And I know that when I come in, I absolutely cater to my families. It's literally whatever they want and whatever their comfort level is. So yeah, sometimes we do come and mom just stays upstairs with the baby and I'm left pretty much to my own devices there in the kitchen. And then sometimes I have, you know, 3 and 4 generations there in the kitchen asking questions and taking pictures, and aunts and uncles, and it almost is like a little postpartum party. And it's really a blessing and an honor to be invited to participate in their postpartum recovery in that way, and whatever that looks like for them. So it really is a great way to connect and to build that relationship, and then we can also kind of see how mom is doing. What kind of support does she have? Is she, are people offering her water? Are they bringing her food? Or is she kind of left to her own devices? And so we can sometimes then lend additional support, maybe reach out to other people in the community, may suggest lactation consultants, suggest postpartum doulas, suggest ways to kind of ease this transition for her. And it goes far beyond just preparing the placenta. And I think that that's something that I really want women to know, is that we are there in the community to provide a variety of just plain support. And even if that just means a listening ear. Did you have anything that you would like to add to that at this point, Polly?
Yeah, so there's a lot of staying in touch that I think lends to the overall postpartum wellness of a new mom or someone who's just had a baby, whether it's their first time or not. Personally, I let the moms know this after, when I'm ready to leave their house and they have their capsules. I let them know that I text a lot in the first couple of days, in the first couple of weeks, and then slowly it tapers off or I lose track of time. Because we have really specific dosage suggestions and guidelines that we follow, and because the moms are tired and overwhelmed and it's a lot of information, I tell them that I'm going to text them reminders end of the first day, after a couple of days, when the dosage changes. And I always say, you don't have to text me back. You don't have to respond. I want you to know that I'm just giving you these reminders. So a lot of times that will start an ongoing sort of support over the first few weeks or couple of months, and I'll just check back in. And I think, they usually just say they really appreciate having someone else to check in. And again, as you said, Jody, if we've met a partner, or if we've met a child and we know a little bit more about their family, we can also check in about that, and often suggest links to other specialists in town or in their community, or, hey, have you asked your friends to set up a meal train? There's sometimes things that come natural to us when we've been in birth work that, sometimes people just really don't know how to find the support they need.
So you had mentioned just now pick up, drop off. And I just wanted to kind of clarify that in the placenta preparation world, there is a mode of thought where picking up placentas from the birth, so whether that's at the hospital or whether that's from the parent's home, and then bringing it somewhere to have it prepared into capsules and then dropping off the capsules. So that is what that's referring to, is the pick up, drop off method. Now, I obviously am not a personal fan of that. I've just been doing this work a really long time, and I'm a little bit older and have seen a lot of things happen and kind of go awry. Like they say, best laid plans. Here in Nevada, the Southern Nevada Health District would not allow any sort of preparation of certainly human organs for ingestion in a facility. There's no licensing or oversight or anything that you can get in the state of Nevada that would allow that. And so from that perspective, I operate completely within the guidelines of my state and health district and region. So that is why I personally do not pick up placentas and drop off capsules. But for the parent's perspective, as a mother of 3, the placenta is from your baby, and it is just as unique and just as special as your baby, and it's irreplaceable. So having you carefully and lovingly transport it to your home where it remains for the duration of the preparation process, where you can see how I'm handling it, where you can see the placenta, where you can see the entire process. Just that having that level of transparency, I feel, is an important part of my services and an important part of what I offer my clients here in Las Vegas. And it's also part of how I train and promote placenta encapsulation services to all of my students, all of my members, and everybody that is in the PBi organization. So we prefer to just come to you, take care of you in your own space, and then, yes, leave your kitchen a whole lot cleaner than when we arrived. So it's just our little way of making sure moms are taken care of in those early days. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Polly.
Thanks for having me, Jody. It's been great to talk with you and just talk more about how we serve new moms and their families. And
so if somebody wanted to get a hold of you or find out more about your services or maybe more about your artwork, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
I have a Facebook page, which is specific for my placenta encapsulation. I believe it's just called PBi Placenta Encapsulation Services, postpartum wellness. You can find me by Googling me that way. So as a multidisciplinary artist, I also have 2 websites which have some of my artwork and music and such on them. And one of those is Radwoman, which is radwoman.com. The other one is my name with a WS at the end, so it's pollywood.ws. And actually, just a couple of months ago, I released some of my artwork onto various merchandise, and that is through a site called Redbubble. So you can look for Radwoman images or my name on Redbubble. So I also, of course, have a profile page on the Placenta Benefits providers search engine. So if you go to placentabenefits.info and search to find a provider, you can find me there. And yeah.
An easy URL for finding another PBi Placenta Encapsulation Specialist. If you're not in Las Vegas for myself or you're not in New York for Polly, a quick URL is placenta.directory. It's not even placenta.com or anything like that. Placenta.directory. Of course, our main website is placentabenefits.info, where you can find out more about why to use your placenta for postpartum recovery. Find us on Facebook, Placenta Benefits, and on Instagram, placenta.benefits. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Placenta Lady, where no question is too strange for the Placenta Lady.